Hey y'all, how you doing today? So, my birthday is in about a week, and I'm going to be 47 years old. Now, I need y'all to keep that a secret, okay? Don't tell my boyfriends, because they all think I'm in my early 30s. I tell you their names, but I can't remember them. You know, I just call them daddy. You know, if you call all your boyfriends daddy, you don't have to remember their names. But anyway, can you believe I'm going to be 47 years old? Because I can, you know. When I was younger, I couldn't imagine myself being older than 36. Not that I thought that I was going to die when I'm 36 or anything like that. It just seemed like 36 was sort of, the peak age. And so it didn't bother me when I turned 30. It didn't really bother me when I turned 36. But when I turned 37, I got depressed. I don't even like to see the number 37. Like if I'm reading a book or, even the little timer on my phone, it hit 37 seconds. It gives me an uneasy feeling on my stomach. I don't know what the deal is with me not liking the number 37. But anyway, when I turned 37, I got a little depressed, and eventually I turned 38, 39. I got over it. It didn't just bother me anymore. But anyway, I digest, as my friend says. I thought that today would be a good day for me to discuss the solar return. Now, those of you who have followed my channel know that I've talked about the lunar return in the past, and those of you who read my blog, Two-Headed Astrology at blogspot.com, I've written a couple of articles on the lunar return. So to begin, the solar return is a chart which is cast for the exact moment that the sun returns to the degree, minute, and second it occupies in your birth or natal chart. And so this solar return sets up a new yearly cycle for you. And you can look at the solar return to see, what kind of themes are present in your chart, what kind of things you can expect, and what kind of things, challenges you might expect to face in the new year. And I say a new year because it is really a new year for you, but you can really think of your solar return in similar terms that you think of the new year. At the end of the year, the new year, it's all about a new cycle, new beginnings, letting all the bad stuff go away and trying to embrace the good stuff. And that's basically my philosophy when I look at these charts. I bring up these charts, I put my notes on them, and it's all about, forewarned is forearmed, steering myself towards the good stuff and trying to stay away from the bad stuff. But even, no one is going to be so great of an astrologer or psychic that you're going to completely avoid bad things all the time. But the challenge for you is to get through the bad stuff stronger and better for the experience. And so again, sometimes knowing something bad that's going to happen, you can lessen the blow or prepare yourself for it. For example, people that knew the stock market was going to crash, they started saving their money and putting money aside and food and hoarding food and whatever to get them through those hard times. That's just an example of forewarned is forearmed. So, as you guys know, or may not know, I do up my charts ahead of time. I try to stay ahead of myself. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I posted a video. I don't know if I posted it on YouTube, but I did post it either on TikTok and or Instagram. I have written up all my charts for 2021. All my lunar returns, my solar return for next year, my Venus return for next year. I have a Jupiter return at the end of this year that goes into the beginning of next year. I have a Mars return in the beginning. I've written up all those charts ahead of time, and I've put them away in my Astrology Journal. This is my Astrology Journal. It's just a 3-ring binder. On the front of it, I have a copy of my birth chart, and it's tabbed, and I have this separated into 6 or 7 sections. First of all, my natal chart. This is where I have my natal chart and all my notes about what the different placements and aspects means. There are how-to articles that I wrote, that some of them appear in my blog, which I use as a reference, and then I have a tab called Reference, which is material that other people wrote that I use when I'm looking at different charts and things. And then I have my past charts, current charts, and future charts, and finally I have relationships. And in that section there are charts of family members, like I have my mother in here. I don't have my father's birth information. I have old boyfriend's charts and significant friendships throughout my life, charts of people that I have known. And so I print these charts off of Astro, and then I write up my notes on them. Wait, that's the lunar return. I'm looking at the solar return. And I write my notes up on them. And as you know, with the lunar return, I carry that with me every day. I take this piece of paper and I fold it up, and then I put it in my pocket, and I carry it with me every day. And I keep up with, on the front of is my notes about the placements for that chart, sun and moon, and then over here I write up the transits that fall within the time period that this lunar chart is activated. So like right now, I know that between September 6th and October 3rd there are 4 transits, and I'll put notes on here about how that'll affect me, but it also helps me keep up with blog posts that I have to write. For example, on the 6th, which is recently, Venus moves into Leo, and I know that that is my 10th house, and I write what that means. So I have 3 more blogs I have to write for this month. I don't do that with the solar return. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do with the solar return. So, first of all, I print this chart up, and on the back of it, I have it divided into 12 sections. I don't think y'all can see this, so I'm going to show it to you. This is basically divided into 12 sections. There are 6 on this side, 6 on that side. And at the top, I have my notes on the Ascendant, in the transit chart, the chart ruler, and then I have the Sun through Pluto and what all those placements mean. And on the front of the chart, this is where I've picked out some of the tightest aspects, hard aspects and soft aspects, and I've written up my notes here about that. And then up here in this corner, as you know, I like to look at the nodes, and I look at the nodes in the transit chart to see where they fall, to help me get out of my comfort zone and embrace new thinking and behavior that's designed to help me grow as a person and become more well-rounded and whatnot. And so what happens is I take out this chart and I write it up ahead of time, and then I put it away into the appropriate spot in my Astrology Journal, my future journal. Now, since my birthday falls in the middle of the month, I usually take this chart out about 2 weeks before it actually activates, and start studying it, because as the old year goes away and the new year gets closer, you can sometimes see some of these things in your chart already manifesting, or the possibility of them manifesting. You can see, you may feel it in the unmanifest and feeling its potential there, and you can start doing things to make free the way for the good things to come to you, and try to, lessen the blow of the bad things or be more prepared for them. So I'm not gonna go over the whole chart. I'm just gonna go over some of the things that I look at, and then just sort of give you an idea about how I use the solar return. I know what I was going to say before. With the lunar return, I told y'all that I carry this with me every day in my pocket. I don't do that with the solar return. What happens with the solar return is I have a bulletin board over my desk, and I put this on the bulletin board because I would be carrying this piece of paper around with me for a year, and honestly, I'm afraid of losing it, because actually last month, I lost my lunar return twice. It fell out of my pocket. You know, for those of you watching this in the future, right now, we have to wear these masks in public, and I was at work. At work, on my break, I usually take my mask off and I take a walk around the building, and I took my mask in my pocket. And when I pulled my mask out of my pocket, my chart fell out and I didn't notice it. Another time I went out into our warehouse to go through some old files, and I was in the warehouse in a corner, no one was around. My boss said I could take my mask off while I was working on going through these old files. I took my mask in my pocket, I pulled it out, the chart fell out of my pocket, I didn't know. Luckily, my friend Crystal, both times she found the chart and returned it to me. So I really don't want to take a chance with losing this. And I'm going to tell you another little secret. I actually have 2 copies of this chart. And because of the way I write on this chart, I don't know if I have that disease people talk about, I forget what it's called, where you write on every available space on a piece of paper. And you, like that woman on Angel the series that time, the really smart one, they found her and she was writing all these equations all over the walls. I kind of do that with this paper. So it's not like I could just put it on a copy machine, because it cuts off the margins and stuff. So I actually have 2 copies of this that I've handwritten, both of them. One copy stays in my Astrology Journal, and I move that from the future chart to the current chart, and that's there in case something happens with this one. And this one will go on my bulletin board over my desk, but sometimes I will take it down. I'll carry it into the bedroom with me on some nights when I'm, you know, just in my bedroom studying. I may carry it with me for a day or 2 here or there, but usually it goes back onto that bulletin board. And again, I just don't want to lose it. And I do realize that I have a cell phone. I can take a photograph of the front and back it and have it with me and not worry about that. But the reason I don't do that is the same reason I don't own a Kindle. I like books. I like real things. I like the feel of this paper. I like looking at my handwriting on it. I can put more notes on it because there's some little spaces here and there. I can highlight things. I can't do that with a photograph. So anyway, back to the things I look at. So really, the first thing I look at is what is the ascendant in the transit chart, because I know what my ascendant is in my birth chart. That is the image I project on the world. But people grow and change, and they experiment. And so we look at the ascendant in the transit chart, and then I look and see what house that falls in my natal chart. For example, I have Scorpio rising, okay? The ascendant in my return chart is Capricorn. So that means that Capricorn is in my 3rd house. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. So what that tells me is those areas that the 3rd house covers are going to be those areas which are prominent in my life in this coming year. So the 3rd house, it covers communication, thinking, your near environment, things of that nature, your self-expression, how you express yourself. The ascendant can also kind of tell you what energies are available for you to project. So with Capricorn being my ascendant in the transit chart or solar return chart, you know, I can come across as someone who's more industrious, deliberate, and courageous, truthful, and forceful. Those are qualities that I can draw upon. The next thing I look at is the chart ruler. The chart ruler is whatever planet rules the sign on the ascendant. And so Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and in the transit chart, Saturn is in the 1st house. So what that means is that the chart ruler is in the 1st house. And that can kind of tell me a little bit more information about what's going to be important in my life. So when the chart ruler in the 1st house, that means that, and forgive me at the outset here, people, you're going to be stuck with me for the next year if you're my friend and you follow me, but it can show an approach to life which is more self-centered, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, guys, because, you know, I recently retired from my root work practice. I have given 10 plus years of my life to other people, and helping other people through my root work practice, through my writing and everything. And so I am sort of moving into and I'm still sort of in a transitory phase because I'm still getting people wanting to approach me for advice and work and what have you. And so I'm really transitioning into a me first attitude where I just have to cut people off and say, look, this is my time, this is for me. And so with the chart ruler in the first house, it could indicate a preoccupation with the image you project, and you can also experiment with your look. You know, maybe I'll grow my hair out really long again. I don't think y'all ever seen me with long hair. Maybe I'll change the way I dress. Y'all always notice I like to wear these colored shirts, and sometimes I'll wear a t-shirt, but I don't really do that very often. So the next thing I look at is I go through the planets. So the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And I write up all my notes on what these placements mean and how it can manifest for me in my life. And so I'll come back to that. And then the next thing I do on the front of the page is I really look at the aspects. Now with my lunar return, your lunar return only lasts for about 28 and a half days. On that chart, I'll only look at the tightest hard aspect and the tightest easy aspect. But with the solar return chart, this chart lasts for roughly a year. So I sort of change my orb up to where in the lunar chart, I use an orb of about 2 degrees. In the solar chart, I use an orb of about 5 to maybe even 7 degrees, up to 10 degrees in some situations. And that gives me a little bit more aspects to look at. And so I look at these tightest aspects with the 5 to 7 degree orb, and that gives me a couple of more, and I really look at them as I see aspects as pockets of energy which are available to me. And so one of them I'll tell you, this has been a very long-standing aspect. My natal sun is transit Pluto. That's an aspect that I had last year when I looked at last year's chart, and it's all about that aspect is all about increasing your focusing on personal transformation, having more energy, more drive, and coming more into your own personal power. And that's something that is an energy that's going to be available to me. The next thing I look at is, I mentioned this before, is the North and South Node. The South Node is behavior that you sort of fall back on. It's your comfort zone. Your North Node is sort of outside your comfort zone. It's the path to growth. So in my 12th, in the solar return chart, the South Node's in the 12th house. So that tells me that I need to let go of being introverted. I need to let go of getting involved in behavior that can be considered escapist. I need to let go of any aspect of my life that is disorganized, and I need to let go of the spiritual aspect of my life. Not completely let go of it, but maybe not spend so much time on that. So with the North Node, with the South Node in the 12th house, that means the North Node is in the 6th house. And the 6th house represents things that I need to embrace in this coming year. Some of these things are being more humble, which, as far as I know, I'm the most humble person on earth. I dare you to find one person more humble than me. I need to work on my routines. I am a Virgo by birth. I love routines, but I need to really focus and make my routines, I feel, more meaningful. 6th house means I need to continue to work on my health, diet, and exercise, and I need to really focus on some things that are much more mundane. Like, I don't have to fill up every aspect of my life with something that's magical. And that's something I have started to do in the last couple of weeks. I mentioned being on TikTok. And although I do post spiritual, magical, witchcraft type things on TikTok, I do use my TikTok to post funny things that happened to me, conversations to old stories that really have nothing to do with the spiritual, the mystic, the irrational. So once you take your chart and you write up all these individual things, you really have to think about the process of astrological synthesis. That's where you look for themes, certain things pop up over and over. And so I'm just going to, talk about some of the things that I see here. Again, my chart ruler is in the first house. That's an approach to life that is more self-centered. And I'm really going to have to focus on making that be a positive thing rather than a negative thing. With my sun in the ninth house, the sun lights up any house where it's at. Think of it like your life is a stage, and the sun is the spotlight. And so the sun is going to, or that spotlight is going to focus on one character on that stage. And so the ninth house is all about personal growth. And so while I'm experimenting, going back to the chart ruler in the first house, I'm being more self-centered. I'm experimenting with my image. I'm experimenting with maybe trying different looks. It's all towards personal growth. With the sun in the ninth house, I'm really open to new knowledge, new people, new experiences, and new cultures. And this is a good time for learning new things, which with this theme, I'm learning about myself as really a non-magical person. Like, who am I, Carolina Dean, when you strip away the witchcraft and the hoodoo and the magic? What's left there? That's something I'm looking into. Another thing I looked at, where is it at? There was something I was looking at. Oh, Pluto is also in the first house in my solar return chart. Remember, Pluto is all about transformation and change, and the first house is all about your identity and the image you project on the world. So this really is a year about self-transformation. It's about taking more control over your own life, and that goes back to the whole self-centered thing. I'm having to push people away and be firm about it because, again, I still, even though I retired from root work, I still have these people coming to me wanting me to burn candles for them and read cards and do their chart and what have you. And I just have to be firm with them if I'm going to grow as a person. Let's see, the other thing that I saw, going back to the aspects, I told you about the Sun trine Pluto. Oh, going back to my image. Venus in my solar return chart is making a conjunction to my natal midheaven. Now we know Venus is all about love and money. Venus can be a little bit lazy, but Venus is like a beautiful woman who demands, comfort and luxury, and she's beautiful and charming, and so people like her. And your midheaven is a point in your chart which deals with the public and how people see you. So the fact that beautiful Venus is making a conjunction to my midheaven, that means that my public image will be positive. You guys like me. You will really like me. Maybe you'll like me as a hoodoo, as a root worker, but maybe you'll also like me as just a plain old Dean Harris, without all the hoodoo and the witchcraft. With Venus in the midheaven, that can also mean you can be elevated in your career. You will get, or I will get more attention from the public, and also more attention from the people in my workaday life. My boss, mentors, and the higher up are maybe looking at me to take on added responsibility and possibly even more money. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to really go into depth much more than that. That'll give you an idea about how I like to use my solar return chart. I did in my blog write a blog post about how you can use your solar return chart to set goals for yourself in your solar year. So when I upload this video to YouTube, I will go back and put a link to that blog post in the description for you guys to read it, because I know some people like videos, some people like to read, so I try to give you a little bit of both. Anyway, that is my take on the solar return. Until next time, make good decisions, do good things, and be good people. Now let's see if this little gadget's going to work. No, it's not. So I'm going to have to get off my little ass here and hit this button. Bye, y'all.